If you've made it this far, it's not by chance. There are paths that the universe writes before our steps even happen. Today, your guardian angels chose this moment, the sound of my voice, the light of this screen, to deliver something that only your heart will understand. Take a deep breath. Allow the silence to speak first. Because there are messages that don't come from words but from signs. God wants to show you something right now. And before we continue, tell me, where are you watching from? Write in the comments. The universe reads you too. There's someone thinking about you at this very moment. And maybe you've already felt this without understanding why. A light shiver. A thought that comes out of nowhere, a song that plays at the exact moment. None of this is coincidence. The universe speaks through subtleties, and that person still vibrates with your energy, even from afar. This story isn't over. It has simply withdrawn like a sunset that seems to be leaving, but is only changing position to keep shining. Can you feel it? There's a connection that hasn't broken. It remains alive even though time has tried to erase it, even though silence has become the language between you. This person carries within them a memory that endures, something that makes them remember you, even when they try not to think about it. They fight against this, but it's a losing battle because the heart recognizes what is true. The guardian angels show me an image, two souls like windows facing each other. For a long time, one stayed closed, afraid of the wind, of storms. But even so, the light kept seeping through small cracks, and it's this light that still reaches you, even when everything seems dormant. There's a feeling that has never been spoken aloud, something this person has kept, perhaps out of pride, perhaps out of fear, perhaps because they don't know how to get closer without hurting their own silence. She watches you from afar, not with her eyes, but with her heart. She feels when you change, when you go silent, when you try to move on, and in each of your attempts to break free, the universe whispers, there is still something there. You might have tried to understand, to question, to forget, but this connection cannot be explained with human logic. It belongs to the realm of the divine. God doesn't unite souls by chance. When a bond is true, even time tries but does not sever it. It only shapes it. And sometimes, distance is the way the universe finds to refine two hearts that didn't yet know how to love on the same frequency. This person is going through a moment of inner revelation. It's as if something inside her begins to open, slowly, with both fear and courage. She starts to comprehend what she used to ignore, and this feeling is called longing. Not a simple longing, but one that eats away at the silence that seeks you in the small things of the day, in the smell of coffee, in a similar name, in a recurring dream. Everything seems to point to the same destination, you. And the most beautiful part is that you feel it too. Because when two souls connect, there's a kind of invisible mirror between them. What one feels, the other perceives. What one tries to hide, the other senses. Perhaps you've noticed this. Thoughts that come for no reason, memories that return out of nowhere, sensations that seem not to belong to the present. These are signs that something still vibrates between you, and it's no coincidence that this message reached you today. Your guardian angels chose this very moment to touch your heart and say, what is true does not get lost. It just waits for the right time to bloom again. This person had to face things you can't imagine, people who doubted, situations that made her question what she felt, fears that seemed greater than love, but there's something she couldn't erase, the memory of you. The universe shows that there was a moment when this person stood up for what they felt, even when the world around them said it was wrong. They went against opinions, advice, even their own reason. And it is at this point that the story gains a rare shine. Someone fought against everything that seemed logical, just because the heart couldn't lie. There's a detail, a small gesture that slipped by, and you might not have even noticed. But it was right there in that instant that time stood still. It was there that this person's soul revealed, unintentionally, just how much love still existed. Do you remember that moment? That quick glance, that interrupted phrase, that brief touch that seemed ordinary but left the air hanging. It was there that the universe showed you the sign. Because when two souls recognize each other, it's not the body that speaks. It's the silence. It's the space between one word and the next. It's the change in breathing. It's the heart racing for no apparent reason. And since then, nothing has been the same. This person may have gone on with their life, but they carry a fragment of you within them, and no matter how much time has passed, The bond remains like a thread of light, thin, invisible, but unbreakable. You feel that thread too, don't you? As if something inside you has always been waiting for a sign, a message, a confirmation. Perhaps this is it. God brought you here to remind you. True love is not what binds, but what remains even when set free. And that feeling, even when dormant, still pulses. The angels show that a new cycle is beginning, but for it to unfold, it's necessary to forgive yourself, time, the decisions that hurt. Forgiveness is letting go of the shadow so that the light can come back through the window. The universe doesn't want you to live in the past, but it also doesn't want you to erase what was true. Some memories are seeds. They lie dormant in the earth until the right moment to be reborn. This person is beginning to understand the value of what they lost. And the universe begins to set the stage for unexpected meetings, subtle coincidences, messages that seem to come from nowhere. But nothing is by chance. Everything has its timing, and your time now is for listening. Inner listening. Listening for signs. Listening to the angels surrounding you. You feel like there's something in the air, don't you? As if a quiet change is forming. That energy is real. It's the universe moving the pieces, silently preparing something that will only be understood later on. Take a deep breath. Allow your heart to receive this message. What feels like distance is sometimes just the space that love needs to grow in truth. And if at this moment you feel longing, don't run away from it. Longing is prayer. It's the soul remembering what made it alive. So embrace that feeling, not as a burden, but as proof that you are still capable of feeling deeply. And that's why the universe chose you today, because only those who feel with their soul can hear what comes from the invisible. And before we continue, answer me in the comments. Have you ever felt that someone is carrying you in their thoughts, even without saying a word? There's a weight that lingers between you, a silence that seems to say more than any conversation. And it's about this silence that the angels want to speak now. This person has distanced themselves, not because they stopped feeling, but because the feelings became too overwhelming. Fear took shape, the fear of losing themselves, of giving in, of repeating old pains. And so they chose silence as a shield, but silence speaks too. And what it has been saying is simple. There is still love. This distance is like a shadow. At first it seems like the end of the light, but in reality it's just an interval, a space between what was and what is yet to come. This person tries to move on, but the soul doesn't follow. On the outside, everything seems resolved. On the inside, there's an echo that repeats your name. Do you feel that echo? It's as if the entire universe conspires to remind you of what the heart tries to deny. But there is pain there, a pain that doesn't want to hurt anymore but also doesn't know how to heal. You felt that distance grow, and maybe you thought it was the end. But it wasn't the end, it was fear. And fear has a curious way of loving. It pulls away to protect, but without realizing, it causes even more hurt. This person was afraid of what they felt, afraid of the intensity, afraid of not being ready, afraid of not being enough. And when fear speaks loudly, love falls silent. Yet even in silence there are signs, little reminders that insist on appearing. Songs, dreams, unexpected encounters. The universe tries to show that nothing was in vain. You, in silence, also felt the emptiness. You tried to convince yourself that it was just another story, but your heart knew it wasn't. It was different. It was one of those connections that can't be explained, only recognized. And that's why even after the distance you still feel. Because true love doesn't end with absence. It transforms, waits, matures. The angels show that there was an internal conflict, a battle between reason and heart. And for a time reason won, but now the heart begins to awaken again. This person looks back and sees what they didn't say, what they didn't do, what they let slip away. And yes, there's regret. But more than that, there's learning. The distance made them understand the value of presence. God is working in the invisible. While you miss them, He's preparing reunions. While you seek answers, He's outlining new paths. While the silence feels heavy, He whispers, trust. And it's in that trust that transformation happens, because the love that comes from God never ends in pain. It merely transforms to be reborn purer. Have you ever felt that someone pulled away out of fear, not lack of love? Write it in the comments. Maybe your answer will touch someone who needs to hear it too. This person will understand sooner or later that true love doesn't demand perfection, only presence. And when she understands this, the universe will create the right moment. It won't be forced. It won't be planned. It will be simple, natural, inevitable. Until then, silence is not a punishment, it is preparation. You are being prepared as well. To love without fear, to recognize yourself in your light and also in your shadows, because it's in the shadow that the soul learns the value of light. This story still has chapters to be written, but for now, what God asks for is faith. Faith in the invisible, faith in His timing, faith in yourself. And before this first part ends, keep this phrase close to your heart. Today's silence is just the interval between what was and what will be again. Because yes, this person still feels, still thinks, still carries you in the spaces between the lines of the day. But something greater is happening. A movement of healing, of preparation, of new beginnings. And the universe shows me one last sign for today. A window is opening. The light coming in slowly. And a gentle presence saying, it's not over yet. Take a deep breath. The angels want you to hear what silence has been holding back. Time was not punishment. It was preparation. God is never late. He just waits for the right heart, at the exact moment. This person thinks of you more than they admit. Even when they try to deny it, the thought returns. In the midst of their routine, in the pauses of the day, your name echoes in places they cannot silence. The universe shows. Something is moving in the invisible. Subtle signs begin to repeat. Songs, dates, coincidences. These are messages from the angels saying, what is true is being remade. This person remembers the peace they felt when they were near you, and when silence comes, it's your name that silence repeats. God is touching her heart. There is regret, longing, and a silent desire to correct what was left behind. Meanwhile, inside you, something is also awakening. You start to understand that love was not weakness. It was a mission. It was the instrument of learning that the universe chose to mature you. And when two souls grow, the reunion becomes inevitable. It doesn't come with noise, but with peace, with a look that says everything, even without words. The angels show a path illuminated by points of light. Each point is a gesture of your faith. Every prayer, every tear, every sigh. All of this is being used by God as raw material for a new beginning. Nothing was in vain. What seemed like a loss was protection. What seemed like distance was preparation. This person begins to see what fear had hidden. They realize that running away didn't bring rest, and they feel, perhaps for the first time, that the true home was the feeling that was born between you. God acts with silence and precision, and when He decides to unite again, nothing can stop it. What the angels ask for today is trust. Trust in divine timing, trust in the signs, trust that the love that comes from God does not end, it simply matures. Do you believe that silence speaks too? Write in the comments. Sometimes it's in silence that love shouts the loudest. Now feel, a new beginning is approaching. Not in a forced way, but softly, naturally, inevitably. Because what is true always finds its way back. There are loves that time tries to erase, but the universe keeps, and it keeps them well. This person and you are threads of the same spiritual web. Not everything needs to happen now. Some stories need to mature before they bloom. Time is not the enemy, it is the master. It teaches, shapes, nurtures, and when the soil of the soul is ready, it brings forth a new life. You haven't lost anything. What is yours by the truth of the heart always returns in a wiser form. The angels show a flame reigniting. Shout is hope, the kind that fear tried to extinguish but couldn't. God asks you for patience. He hasn't forgotten what He promised you in silence. He is just aligning the timing of the soul with the timing of the earth. Everything you have lived was preparation. This person was a mirror, a reflection of what you needed to understand about yourself. Now you understand that love is not the absence of pain, but the choice to heal. And that's why the universe brought you here, to remind you that pain is also a passage. No distance can erase what is true. No silence can silence what still vibrates in God. Breathe. Feel the presence of angels around you. They gather the longing and return it as strength. The light returns. Slowly, but it returns. And when it does, you will understand that everything that seemed like loss was just a path, because true love never ends. It only changes form until it can return clean, healed, whole. Look at the sky now. There are signs calling you to faith. A breeze, a star, a name that appears. All of this is a response. The love that is yours in God's time does not get lost. It just learns how to return. The universe always realigns hearts that seek each other. and yours is being realigned now. If this message touched you, hold it like a prayer, not as someone who waits, but as someone who trusts, because the universe has already heard your silence and God has begun to act. I want to hear from you now. Which word from this message spoke to you the most? Write it in the comments. The universe reads what you feel. Maybe it's hope, maybe reunion, maybe faith. Each word is a seed, and by writing, you plant light. Do you believe that true love always returns when souls are ready? Leave it in the comments. Someone might find healing in your answer. If this message made sense to you, give it a like right now. This way it reaches more people who need to remember love and faith. Share it with those experiencing a similar silence. You could be the sign that the universe wants to use today to reach another heart. And if you wish to continue receiving messages like this, messages that embrace, strengthen, and enlighten, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every video is a prayer, every word is a hug, every encounter, a touch of God. Repeat after me now in silence. I trust in God's timing. I release what has already served its purpose. And I open myself up to the new that the universe has in store. Do you feel the energy shifting? It's your heart aligning with the divine plan. Carry this light with you. And remember, no story ends before its time. Love is on its way, and when it arrives, you will understand. Every wait, every tear, and every silence were just rehearsals for the most beautiful reunion of your life. If this message touched your heart, comment with the word that resonated with you the most. Leave a like to spread this energy, and subscribe. The universe still has a lot to reveal to you because God is still writing your story right now.